أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الأطيبين الأنجبين بهم نتولى ومن أعدائهم نتبرأ إلى الله. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توها وتمتعه فيها طويلا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. This will be the last session of this topic that we had, and inshallah from Thursday onwards you'll be starting and preparing for the holy month of Ramadan. We'll talk a little bit about these channels that are formed by Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, tawfiqat that are given by Him Jalla wa Ala, and also a little bit about how to prepare for the month of Ramadan and all this investment that we have been doing in this month of Rajab and Sha'ban. It's to perceive the month of Ramadan and in particular the night of Qadr, Laylatul Qadr. And Laylatul Qadr is the night of Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam. So all this heavy investment just to perceive a little bit of that night, and there says Laylatul Qadri khayrun min alfi shahr, it is better than 1,000 months, meaning 84 years. So if we correct ourselves, fix ourselves, and try to perceive that Laylatul Qadr, so we have jumped ahead by 84 years. And there in another quote, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam, he says that Man adraka Fatima faqad adraka Laylatul Qadr, whosoever perceives Fatima, understands Fatima, he also has perceived Laylatul Qadr. So the idea is to get to Laylatul Qadr and slowly, gradually take everything on board and to get 84 years ahead in our life, in our spiritual life. And if someone gets to that point, then he is successful both here and in the hereafter. So Laylatul Qadr, in another quote that we have with reference to the greatness of Laylatul Qadr, says تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا, that the angels and the Ruh, they descend on this Laylatul Qadr. So the angels and the Ruh, they descend. Ruh, now the translations that are generally, can you turn on the, can you mute the mics please, all of you? I don't have the access today. Mute all your mics. So, تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا, the translations that you have in the English Qurans, they are all wrong. They say that Malaika and Ruh, meaning Jibraeel, descend on that night, when that's not right. Jibraeel is also from among the angels. In a hadith from Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, he says that Jibraeel is also from the angels. But here when he says that تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ, that is Malaika, the angels, the angels, they descend. وَالرُّوحِ, and also Ruh. Ruh is the spirit. So when you want to add or use a conjunction, you don't use the conjunction for the same category of things or the same group of beings. So here تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ is an entity. Warruh is another creation. So Allah says Malaika and the angels and Ruh, the spirit, they descend. Now where do they descend? In one of these meetings with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was reciting the Suratul Qadr, they asked, the first and the second Khalifa, they inquired that تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا, O Prophet, all As long as you were alive, the angels they descended on your pure heart. And what will happen to these angels and where will they descend after you? Because the ayah says تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها, that the angels they will continue to descend. That is, even after the Prophet, the angels they will descend. Where will they descend, Ya Rasulullah? The Prophet says, you tell, where will they descend? They replied, we don't know, Ya Rasulullah. The Prophet he stood, Amir al-Mu'mineen was present in that majlis. He comes and he places his two hands on the shoulders of Amir al-Mu'mineen and says, after me it is the pure heart of Ali on which the angels they will descend. And after Amir al-Mu'mineen it is Imam Mujtaba, after him Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And in this day and age these angels they descend upon the pure heart of Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam. And there it is Imam, he has to sign and certify the decree and the taqdirat, the muqaddarat of every individual, whatsoever you want, that is life and death and health and wealth and happiness and family and children, whatever you can think of, moral, material, spiritual, all of that is written on that night of Qadr, and that is certified by the Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. So we have to work on this Laylatul Qadr. And can you mute your mics, please, all of you, on Laylatul Qadr? We have to try and benefit as much as we can in this month of Ramadan. So the topic that we have a little bit, we'll talk about the situation that everyone is going through. It was mentioned, if you remember, in the first 2 or 3 sessions that after all, everything that takes place in this world, it is the consequences of affairs and actions that we have done intentionally, unintentionally. Whatever we have done, what we are facing is are the effects of some actions of whoever has done whatever. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, in one of these Ahadithul Qudsiyya, Ahadithul Qudsiyya means, can Sajida Virji mute your mic, please? Ahadithul Qudsiyya, thank you, are the sisters of Quran, meaning that it is Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala who is the spokesman and the recipient of this message. It could be any one of the prophets. Now specifically, if it was Rasulullah, the ayat of Quran, they are the words of Allah revealed to Rasulullah. But Allah has had communications with every other prophet, and they too are the Ahadithul Qudsiyya, the words of Allah. So in a way, Ahadithul Qudsiyya, they are the sisters of Quran. In this hadith, Allah Jalla wa Ala, He says that, Abdi anta turid wa ana urid. My servant, you want and I also want. وَلَا يَكُونُ إِلَّا مَا أَنَا أُرِيد. That what I want, that will happen. فَإِن سَلَّمْتَ بِمَا أُرِيد كَفَيْتُكَ مَا تُرِيد. He says that if you submit to what I want, I will fulfill and grant and give you what you want. وَإِن لَمْ تُسَلِّمْ بِمَا أُرِيد. If you do not submit to what I want, أَتَبَعْتُكَ فِي مَا تُرِيد. I will make you tired. I will make you run, beat around the bush, such ثُمَّ لَا يَكُونُ إِلَّا مَا أُرِيد. And ultimately, that what I want, it will happen. So, whatever He wants, that happens. What we learn from this hadith is that a total submission has to be there in Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. You do what you have to do, you work as hard as you can, but your heart and your soul, it has to rest upon Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, that He is the ultimate and He is the decision maker. What He wants, that is what happens. If you see in the spring, in the autumn, that all these leaves that they fall from the trees, is it as such that it's just a wind that blows and the leaves they fall? Every leaf that falls, that is in the ilm of Allah wa ta'ala, He knows which leaf, where and what time and how it should drop, it should fall, and where it should fall. That much of a knowledge, that much of an ilm He has, and that is what we recite in the Salat Ghufayla between the Namaz Maghrib and Isha, that تسقط من ورقة إلا يعلمها. That is, waraqa means a leaf, does not fall, but that He knows. And many a times it is He who makes these arrangements. When a leaf falls from a tree, He says that this leaf has to go to a stream, to a lake, and fell in the lake and become a means, a boat comes by the rock and then stations there for those insects and those creatures that cannot move in water, becomes a boat for those creatures, and then brings those insects to a safe place, to a dry land. Allah makes all these beautiful arrangements, that He is the creator, and no creation of His, whether it be on the surface of this earth, be deep down in the ocean, or inside a rock, He provides. In one of these Ahadithul Qudsiyah, again, Prophet Dawood, I believe, Prophet Dawood says that I saw a frog come by the lake, and a worm, an ant sits on the tongue of this frog, and he goes down the lake, and after a while returns and opens the mouth. The tongue is out, and the ant also leaves the mouth. Now, frogs, they are supposed to eat insects. Now here, Prophet Dawood, he's amazed and asks the frog, "What are you up to, and what are you doing?" Says, "I've been instructed to come and sit by this lake, by the pond, and that ant has been instructed to carry a grain, and I have to take that ant deep down to the bed of this lake. There is a rock, and in the rock there is a worm, and the food of that worm is provided via me and that ant. We too have to provide that." He says, Subhanallah. And have you ever heard anything? He says, did you hear anything what that worm says? He says, yes. I went by the rock. Whenever I go there, I see and I hear the worm supplicate that praise be to the Almighty Lord, who never forgets anyone, even deep down in the bed of this lake, and He provides to this creature living inside a rock. That is Allah wa ta'ala. Can all participants mute their mics, please? I don't have that option today to mute. All participants mute their mics, please. One of my asatid, Ayatullah Ishtihardi Rahmatullahi alayh, a very noble person, he lived for over 100 years. In one of the durus, he used to say that when he went for tabligh to one of the villages, and in the farms, he said that I saw these honeybees. Honeybees, they generally settle on these flowers and sweet places. I saw a honeybee come and take a grain of wheat and fly to over the wall. And I was amazed to see that why is this honeybees never eat grains, never eat wheat. What is he doing here? And I see that this is constantly happening, that this bee comes, takes a grain and towards the wall. I come by the wall and I see there's a blind pigeon. And this honeybee is providing the food to that blind pigeon. That is Allah wa ta'ala, who makes these arrangements in such a beautiful way. The network of rizq is such a massive network. Can Dr. Vishakha mute your mic, please? I think it's. And there is someone else. There are quite a few mics open. If you could mute them all. So this network of rizq, or the job description of Mikael alayhi salam, the angel Mikael, who provides the rizq and sustenance to everyone. If someone knew that that is sufficient, that how this one God, this belief that we have in the existence of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He never forgets anyone, He never overlooks anyone, He provides everyone and in the best way. Du'as also that we have, sometimes we say we have so many du'as and they don't get accepted. Doesn't mean that we lose hope. He is that wise, that He knows when a dua has to be accepted. It doesn't mean that you don't pray. You pray. You pray to your maximum ability. You ask whatever you want. And in asking also, don't be bakhil, don't be tight-fisted. He gives, and He gives in a wonderful way. The wisdom over here is that sometimes du'as, they are accepted. Sometimes they are delayed. Sometimes they are granted in the next generation or in the generations to come. And if that time wasn't there, and then you had so many du'as, then Allah compensates it in the heaven. He provides you with a substitute. And hadith says that when mu'mineen will check into their chambers in the heaven, they would see a variety of gifts that are present over them. And they would say, what are these gifts? Why are they here? And who has sent them? And such beautiful and magnificent provisions would be there. They would be replied that all those du'as that you had in dunya, which did not materialize, that were not granted to you, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He has compensated all of that in this beautiful form. And there they would say that we wish none of our du'as were ever accepted whilst we were in dunya. So these arrangements, they are made by Him. Du'as also are like that. It says قَدْ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدْرًا in the third ayah of Surah Al-Talaq, that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He has made for everything a qadr and a miqdar, and He has made all these arrangements. When you look back into the history of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam, he saved Prophet Yusuf. Now the brothers, they wanted to kill him, get rid of him. They came and they lied to the father that a wolf has eaten their brother. They came, they threw Prophet Yusuf in the well. Now all the brothers on one side, Yusuf all alone here. And when they were about to throw him in the well, Prophet Yusuf, he starts laughing. They say that, why do you laugh? Now you should be pleading and crying. Ask us, beg us not to ditch you and throw you in the water, in that well. Why do you laugh? He says that all these days I was wrong. I thought that someone who has 10 brothers, 11 brothers, he would be the safest person on earth. That these brothers will always be there to help him, to render a helping hand to him, to keep him safe, but I was always wrong. So the truth was that I should have said that there is someone, and that is the existence of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. He is the one who helps. Allahu Maulana. Allah is our Mawla. Allah is our master. That is what we have to digest and believe, that in all these difficult situations, no one can help, only it is Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. قَدْ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدْرًا. No channel or mean is formed on its own. Allah, He makes them. Allah, He breaks them. And when they threw Prophet Yusuf in the well, so he should have died, he didn't die. And then when he was there for a duration of time in the well, there was a caravan. That caravan was en route to a destination. They get thirsty. They want water. There wasn't water with them. So they come in search of a well. They throw a bucket to get some water. Instead of water, they get this beautiful young lad. And now, instead of going to their destination, they say that we have a beautiful child here. Why don't we go and sell him? Sell him to the marketplace, to where the slaves are sold. They bring him to sell to sell him at that market. And there, the king and the queen, who never come to the marketplace, now they arrive there. And here Pharaoh, and then Aziz Misr and his wife, they also, when they saw Yusuf, they said, he's beautiful. Ma hadha illa malakun kareem. Let's take him and I'll look after him. And there he's taken to the palace of Aziz Misr. The king and the queen, they take care of Yusuf. And there all the story of Zulaykha and Yusuf comes into existence. And then this Yusuf arrives at that loftiest of positions and ranks and is given a kingdom, a rule of that Misr. So here all of these arrangements were made by Allah wa ta'ala, that is saving him in that water. Otherwise, in the water, if someone is thrown, he should have died. So he saves Yusuf in the well. He saves Nuh on the waters. He saves Prophet Yunus in the sea, inside in the belly of that whale, in that fish. So he makes all these arrangements. He breaks the arrangements. He makes people thirsty. He quenches the thirst of everyone. And that Iman in Allah wa ta'ala should be such that it should increase day by day. And especially in this month of Ramadan, if you see all of these du'as that we have, amazing and beautiful du'as. And one of the phrases that we recite almost in every day, and especially the du'as that we have for the night, أسألك إيمانا تباشر به قلبي ويقينا حتى أعلم أنه لن يصيبني إلا ما كتبت لي. That Allah give me an iman that is with me all the time, ويقينا, and give me a certainty, a yaqeen, that nothing befalls, nothing comes to me but that what has been written by you. If he has written something to get to me, it will definitely get to me, no matter how many hindrances are there, how many stopovers are there. No one will be able to stop it. It will get to me. Now, if you look back into the recent past, not long, this Mal'oon Saddam, he killed 1.6 million people. Ayatollah al-Uzma Sistani also was living at that time. So if he wanted, he could have killed him as well. But he couldn't. That is, al-mu'min kal-jabal, says like a mountain. Many times he who has done such a horrendous crime and killed so many people, or likewise the Shah of Iran, so many thousands, tens of thousands of people he killed in Iran. But that one, Imam Khomeini, he couldn't. He couldn't, meaning that when Allah wants someone to remain, he remains. When Allah wants someone to protect, he protects. Now, whatever is happening in this day and age today, these shayateen, they are planning a big chunk. But there is a planner who is going to override and overrule all of them. And that what he wants will ultimately happen. That, as it was mentioned in that hadith, that وَإِن لَمْ تَسْلِمْ بِمَا أُرِيد أَتْبَعْتُكَ فِيمَا تُرِيد ثُمَّ لَا يَكُونُ إِلَّا مَا أُرِيد. If you do not submit to what I want, I will make you tired, and ultimately that what I want will happen. That what Allah has desired. That what Allah will, that what Allah wants is that He wants the rule of Salihin on this planet Earth. That is, من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون, that Salihun, they have to rule on this planet Earth. They are the ones who will inherit this land. So وَاللَّهُ يَحْكُمُ لَا مُعَقِّبَ لِحُكْمِهِ. That is, indeed Allah, He is the repeller of His decree. There is no one who can repel the decree of Allah. He is the one who decrees. He is the one who makes these channels, and He is the one who breaks them. In the second and the third ayah of Surah Al-Talaq says that وَيَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. That is, when Allah provides, He provides from amazing outlets you would never ever think of. وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. And whosoever relies upon Allah, He is sufficient, He is kafi for him. إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَالِغُ أَمْرِهِ قَدْ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدْرًا. That is, He is the one who indeed has made a measure for everything. Everything is in its right place. Now, Prophet Musa alayhi salam, his story also, he was wanted in Madian. Everyone, the Pharaoh was chasing him. He comes to Madian and he was there for many years. And he comes and meets Prophet Shu'aib alayhi salam. The daughters of Shu'aib, they came to fetch water. Here Prophet Musa helped them. So the two sisters, they took them to the father so that the father could pay him for the hard work that he did. Now he wants to get married. He got married to one of the daughters of Shu'aib, and a mahr is required. There he says that instead of paying that mahr, I'll work for Shu'aib as a shepherd for a duration of time, which he did. And in the meantime, he was blessed with a child, and with this child and wife, he was off towards. They were traveling. It was night and it was dark, and the wife was ill. He says, just wait here, I'll go and get some firewood so that we can have some light and some heat. And then when he goes there, he hears that, Ya Musa, inni anallah rabbul alameen. Musa, I am God, the Lord of the universe, of the world. Do you want to see me? Did you not want to see me? Musa says, yes, I did want to see you. He shook. Then Allah says, throw that stick that is in your hand. He threw the stick and it changed into a snake. And then Prophet Musa, he got scared, he panicked, he shook, and he fled. Now Allah's eternal might is such that He can change whatever He wants in whatever form. That's the miracle. When He wants to do something, He does it. Now how He does it, is it possible, is it not possible, that is not our job. Just leave the tasks of Allah to Him, and that what is upon me, I do it myself. That's a miracle that took place. Now if you see Hajis, when they go and perform tawaf, may Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, and one of the du'as that we recite in the month of Ramadan a lot, Allahumma rzuqna hajja baytik. That is, that Hajj of your house be granted, because that also, it's that headquarters of the Waliyullah of Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam. That people, they have met the Imam in those holy lands a lot. One of those places where you can swear an oath that he is, on which part of the earth, is on the day of Arafah. He is there in that place. And Hajis who are there in Arafah, and when they are breathing in that same atmosphere where Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wasalam is breathing. So that much of a Mubarak place it is. So that Hajj is also belongs to Imam al-Asr. It's the essence of Imam al-Asr, Laylatul Qadr, that we are going to perceive inshallah. That also belongs to Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam. Now when Hajis, they perform this tawaf, the start and the end of the tawaf is from Hajarul Aswad. That Hajarul Aswad in the Alam Zar, that is prior to the creation of this dunya, when the allegiance was taken from the creation, or that Alam Zar meaning the Alam Alast, the world which is known as Alast. This has been mentioned in Quran, Alastu bi Rabbikum, and that proposal was given to the entire creation. Some of them were quick and fast in accepting the wilayat of Allah, of Rasulullah, and of Amir al-Mu'mineen. The first and the foremost of them was Rasulullah, and for that reason the top notch and the first designation in the creation was given to Rasulullah. It was Amir al-Mu'mineen then. The second designation was given to Amir al-Mu'mineen. So Shias who are Shias here in this world, it isn't as such that just like mushrooms popping up after rain, Shias came into existence. No. Shias, and whatever the designation and the task they are performing in this dunya, is a test they have passed over there in the prior to stepping into this dunya. So that for that reason we have to be thankful to Allah Ta'ala that we are among the Shias of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salatu wassalam. So the point of the starting point of the tawaf is Hajarul Aswad, and the tawaf, the rounds also end at Hajarul Aswad. This Hajarul Aswad in the Alam Zar used to be an angel. Now this angel, Allah transformed him into a stone, and then the stone has been placed by the Kaaba, and this angel or that stone, it witnesses everyone paying a visit to the Kaaba. So it is that you could say a CCTV or whatever name you can give, a hard drive that is recording everyone who is coming and who is performing that Hajj and Tawaf, and that would be a witness on the Day of Judgment. Yeah, then these many mu'mineen, they came, they performed Tawaf. So Allah, who can change that angel into a stone, He can change that stick into a snake. And when Prophet Musa holds the snake, it would be back to that stick. It is that very Allah Ta'ala, the creator, the benefactor. He says, Musa, you hit the stick on a stone, that would change, and 12 springs would gush out. It would change into water. Again says, Musa, hit that stick onto that water, and you would see that a dry dock opens in the seas. So that is Allah Ta'ala. We don't want to go and analyze that. How is it possible? That is dry, that is wet, that is a snake, that is a stone, that is an angel, that is Hajarul Aswad. All that is upon Allah Ta'ala. That is His business. Whatever He wants, He does. So He breaks the means and channels. He makes the means and channels. And when they wanted to throw Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam in that fire should burn. But why did it not burn? Again, it is Allah Ta'ala. He takes away the heat from that fire so that His wali and His friend, he is not hurt. So beautiful ayat we have which talk about this. And for example, there's another ayah in Quran. It says that وَإِنَّهُ هُوَ أَضْحَكَ وَأَبْكَى, that it is Allah who makes you laugh. It is Allah who makes you cry. Many a times I may go and recite a majlis, maqtal, a whole maqtal of 90 minutes. I may recite, no one cries. And sometimes it is not even in maqtal, just a few sentences of a musibat. I cry. I may recite when people shouldn't be crying at that point. They burst into tears. Or where they shouldn't be laughing, they laugh. Where they should be crying, they don't cry. So all that, even the laughter and the cries, they are controlled by Allah Ta'ala. So many a times we get upset when we see these situations, loss of job, or the financial crisis, or problems that we see in families, and we get upset. There is nothing to get upset, nothing whatsoever to get upset, because the planner who is planning, he does the best for every one of us, and he doesn't neglect anyone. Just like all these examples that were given, that little worm deep down in the seabed, inside the rock, is provided. Will he forget you and me? Definitely not. أَنَّهُ هُوَ أَضْحَكَ وَأَبْكَى. Sometimes people, they rely on these imaginary calculations. I'll give you an example here. One of the ladies in Tehran, she had 4 sons, all 4 of them physicians, and people who were around her, they used to say that how lucky she is. She's got four sons and all four of them doctors, so she doesn't need to worry about any medication, any medicine, doesn't need to line up in the hospitals, in the GPs. So she's got four sons at her disposal, and all four of them, one better than the other, the best of doctors in town. Now, this lady, when these sons they get busy, and mothers they generally don't want to disturb their children. She also was in her place. The sons they thought that he's maybe in the house of the first one. The first one thought maybe the second one, and all of them with this assumption that she must be in the house of one of the other brothers. And this lady, she falls ill and she dies without any medication, without seeing a doctor. Now, someone who had four sons and all of them physicians has to die without any medication, without any seeing a doctor. So these calculations also that we have, they are all imaginary calculations. And on the contrary, you see that someone who doesn't have any one of these qualified children may not be the same case. So calculations that we have, they are imaginary, they are wrong. And Allah Ta'ala, He is the one who is the ultimate planner that we have, and unto Him should be our support. And especially in this month of Ramadan, we have to work on it a lot, that Allah Ta'ala grants us an Iman, and we get to this point and we know that لَن يُصِيبَنِي إِلَّا مَا كَتَبْتَ لِي, that nothing will get to me but that what you have written. كَتَبْتَ لِي, you have written for me. This was a little bit about these channels that are broken and that are made by Allah Ta'ala. And one of the du'as also that we have, that we recite after the Isha prayers, it's the same, that asbab, they are made by Allah Ta'ala, and asbab, they are broken by Allah Jalla wa'ala. May Allah Ta'ala help us in this month of Ramadan and this glorious month that we have. One of the surahs to be recited a lot in this month, it's Suratul Qadr. Suratul Qadr, it's the surah of Wilayah. And it was mentioned, that hadith from the Holy Prophet. It's the surah of Wilayah, surah of Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam. And it is mustahab that this surah be recited 1,000 times every day. It may sound a lot, but those who want to do it, they do it. You can do it in different times of the day, a few hundred every time, and 1,000 Suratul Qadr every day. That is one. Secondly, in this month of Ramadan, one of the other surahs that you have to recite is Surah Dukhan. Dukhan also 300 times in the entire month. So if you do 3 times every day, you've done that. So Surah Dukhan, it's not a very lengthy surah, it's just 3 pages, a very easy surah also with small ayat. And a few times when you recite it, you will memorize the surah as well. It's reciting the Suratul Qadr and then Suratul Dukhan, and every day reciting the Holy Quran as much as you can, and as many Qurans as you can finish. Least of it is that at least one Quran, which makes 1 juz every day. So recitation of Quran every day. And then one of the mustahabbat, which is generally not observed, is that we have to perceive Laylatul Qadr and do something so that an extra tawfiq is given to us, that we witness Laylatul Qadr. And for that, Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam, he says that recite Dua Joshan Kabir on the night of the 1st of Ramadan. Now here in Canada, if Saturday is the 1st of Ramadan, then on Friday night you recite Dua Joshan Kabir. And if it is sighted the moon and Friday is the 1st of the month of Ramadan, then Thursday night you recite Dua Joshan Kabir. So bear that in mind, put some reminders so that we don't forget that on the night of the 1st of Ramadan, recite that Dua Joshan Kabir. And Imam says that someone who does that will be blessed to perceive Laylatul Qadr because of this dua Joshan Kabir. In addition to the 3 times you would recite in the Layali Qadr on the 19th, 21st, and 23rd, this is an extra dua Joshan Kabir that you would recite inshallah on the night of the first of the month of Ramadan. One of the other things to keep in mind is that this month it's special. In one of the riwayat that we have, I believe it's Hadith al-Qudsi again, there Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, to the Prophet he says, to no nation did I give this Laylatul Qadr. Laylatul Qadr has been given only and only to the nation of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. So it's a big bonus given to us. No one else had that. It's only the nation of Rasulullah that you can get an opportunity to jump 84 years ahead of yourself by perceiving part of that Laylatul Qadr. And also in Mafatihul Jinan, if you see the major chunk of that book, it's related to the month of Ramadan. And it is the month of Ramadan. You also have to address the month with honor and with respect, because Ramadan, it's the name of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And Hadith says that never say Ramadan has come, Ramadan has gone, Ramadan is ending, Ramadan is starting. Says that you always address it with respect. Shahru Ramadan, the month of Ramadan. Or you say Mah Mubarak, Mubarak Mahina. Or with all these extra respect, you will have to address the month of Ramadan because it is the name of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Now in this month of Ramadan, you have du'as for the day. So every day there is a small du'a of 1 lines, 2 lines. You recite every day. And then you have du'as for the night also. For the night you've got special du'as. So throughout the day, it would be a good idea that before the month comes, you just see what we have for the month, and whatever you can plan and recite and perform and observe as much as it is possible. And may Allah make this month the best of months that we have ever observed throughout our life. So we have du'as for the day, each day. We have the tasbihat for the day as well. That there are some tasbihat you recite during the day. There are tasbihat you recite during the night. Now by day and night, day means after the sunrise and night means after Maghrib. Now du'as for the day you have for even prior to Zohr, and then you have du'as after Zohr. You've got special du'as that you recite after the wajib prayers, and then you have du'as that you recite at night. And among those du'as that you recite after your Isha prayers is Dua Iftitah. Dua Iftitah is also the dua reported by Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam, and recite it every day. Don't miss even one day, because that 30-day Dua Iftitah, it's like these antibiotics that is given to us. If you miss it, you lose the asar or the effect of that dua, of this medication. Just like that, these du'as also have that impact, that don't miss any one day of this dua Iftitah. And that dua Iftitah, it's a beautiful dua which talks about the imamat of Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam in particular, and his role, what it would be inshallah when he returns soon, and what our role would be inshallah in the hukumat and the rule of Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam. And after dua Iftitah also there are some small du'as, maybe 1.5 pages, recite them as well. That is also beautiful. So these are the du'as that you recite at night. Then you've got du'as that you recite towards the midnight, and then you've got du'as that you recite after midnight, sahar, and then you've got du'as that you recite for fajr. So it's a beautiful month embedded with all these different prescriptions given by the Ma'asumeen, so that whatever is possible for you, whatever you can take on board, do it. If you can't do anything, again, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He says that this is my month and you are my guests. I am the host. And if you don't do anything, you don't feel like doing anything, you just feel like sleeping away the entire month, He says, even for that sleep of yours, it will be worship. Every breath of yours that you inhale, that will be classified as tasbih. And every ayah of Quran that you recite in the sacred month of Ramadan, I will give you the reward of one complete recitation of one holy Quran. That is that generosity of Allah Ta'ala for this beautiful month. So we've got du'as for the day, du'as for the night, tasbihat for the day, tasbihat for the night, and then we've got prayers for every day. Now, nawafil that we recite, that we offer throughout the day, that is for Fajr, Zohar, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha, those nawafil they are there. In addition to those nawafil, there is a prayer that is for every day of the sacred month of Ramadan. If you go to this, inshallah, I'll send you the links for the. I'll send you the link for the prayers, inshallah. So every day it has a special prayer. So just to get an idea of what you can do, and as much as you can, try to perform them. You will be blessed with special tawfiqat for what is observed in this sacred month of Ramadan. So every day of the month has a special prayer. For example, the first day of the month, if I could find it, the first day of the month, it has a 4 rakat prayer in which you recite Surah Tawheed, Surah Al-Hamd once, and 15 times Surah Tawheed. So 4 rakat, 2 and 2, and then you've got all these different versions of these prayers. Whichever is possible for you, try and do them as much as you can. Now, one of the prayers which you can definitely do in this month of Ramadan, it's a 2 rakat prayer that you offer after your Isha prayers. So you've done your Isha prayers, your Nafilah of Isha, and after that you offer another 2 rakat prayer, Qurbatan ilallah. The difference over here is that after Surah Al-Hamd, you would recite Surah Al-Ikhlas 3 times in both the rak'at, and then once you've done the prayer, you would there's a one line dua, Subhana man huwa rahimun la ya'jal, Subhana man huwa. You recite that. For that also there is so much of ajr and reward that has been mentioned. So all these different prayers that you have for this glorious month of Ramadan. Now, in addition to this, there are some you have the du'as for the sahar of the month of Ramadan. Dua sahar, the one which is famous is Ya Mafza'i and the Kurbati. That is the smallest one. At least recite that smallest dua sahar every day. If you could do a little bit more, then you could do that Ya Dua Baha, Allahumma inni as'aluka bi baha'ika bi abhahu wa kullu baha'ika bahi. Recite that. And this dua is also known as Dua ul-Ahrar. Dua ul-Ahrar means dua of those who are free, of the free men. In every dua that we have, you recite, you ask Allah for something. But in this dua baha, you don't ask Allah for anything. You say, Allahumma inni as'aluka bi baha'ika bi abhahu wa kullu baha'ika bahi. Allahumma inni as'aluka. And then you don't say what you want. You say, God, I ask you by your greatness, and your greatness is such great. And I ask you by your greatness what? You don't say. That is another beautiful way of begging from Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And the seerah of Imam Khomeini was such that when he used to offer his prayers, now there are all these du'as that we recite. For example, in the last sajda, you say Ya Latif irham abdaka al-dhalil, or for example Ya Wali al-Afiya as'aluka al-Afiya, and so many other du'as that you have. Now he, in his sajdas, he used to say Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Latif. That's it, nothing else. So he is calling the existence of Allah as Ya Latif. It is upon him how he bestows. So when you come to someone such great, and that also is as a result of that height of ma'rifah a person has towards the existence of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. So dua sahar, you have one of the other duas that we have for sahar of the month of Ramadan. Now, here in this part of the world, we don't have such a long night. Maybe in the southern hemisphere, the nights would be longer, or some other parts of the world, you may be having slightly longer nights. If that is the case, then dua Thimali Abu Hamza. That is one of the beautiful du'as. At least try to do it once or twice during the month of Ramadan. And it was the seerah of the noble, of the Muqaddas, those who were studying in Najaf and in Qom also, that they used to recite the entire dua Abu Hamza in the qunut of the night prayers. So there have been people of that great caliber. It's a very long dua which takes about 90 minutes of your time. But once in a while, if you can't do the entire dua every day, at least a few pages, a few minutes of it, listen to it, see what Imam alayhi salatu wassalam asks Allah tabarak wa ta'ala in all of these du'as. And this dua Abu Hamza also, that after reciting that 90-minute long dua, that what Imam asks Allah, it's the same thing. That as'aluka imanan tubashiru bihi qalbi wa yaqinan. That Allah, I want an iman which is with me, and I want a yaqeen which is with me, and then that yaqeen that makes me believe that nothing would get to me but that what Allah has desired, that what Allah tabarak wa ta'ala has intended and He has decreed for me, only that would get to me. Now, towards the 13th, 14th, and 15th of this month, again, inshallah, you'll get these reminders that say that some of the other du'as, they are highly recommended. Among them is Dua Mujir. Dua Mujir also, it's the names of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, highly recommended in the month of Ramadan, especially on the 13th, 14th, and 15th of this glorious month. So inshallah, Allah help us all in benefiting and making the best of this glorious month of His, and grant us the tawfiq that we perceive Laylatul Qadr, and that Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alfi shahr be bestowed to every one of us, and Allah make it as such that we hear the cry and the call of Imam al-Asr alayhi salam, and Allah hastens his return, and we are all enlisted among the best of servants of Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam. Now, one of the other things that we've been requesting Allah to hasten his return. Now, if after all these du'as and all these glad tidings and good news and giving so much of hope, if he doesn't return, what do we do? Does it mean that we turn back to our heels? No. What we want, we have this belief in the imamat of Imam and this dua that we have to hasten his return, that gives us a lot of hope, that gives us all that umeed, that gives us all that optimism. And someone who has that optimistic faith and belief, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala opens up for him also opportunities with all that hope and optimism, and that is what he loves. And inshallah, that what we definitely want and desire from him is the return of the Imam alayhi salam, and that we are all enlisted among the best of his servants and those who seek shahadat in his service. وسبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل Muhammad. Now this was mentioned that if we have this dua and the return of the Imam is delayed, what happens then? When we look back into the history of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in one of these battles, Ammar and one of the other companions of Rasulullah, they came across one of the Jews, and then he started mocking that you said that you are the ones who will be winning in these wars, and in this battle of Uhud you sustained such a huge loss and so many of your people were martyred. What do you have to say? With all that hope, that optimism you had, du'as that you had, you are the winners and you have the Prophet with you. Now this Sahabi who was with Ammar, he says that I don't want to talk to you guys, because you guys just create doubts and confusion in our minds. Ammar says, but I want to talk to you. And he says, Ammar Yasir, he says that, yeah, what we had, that belief and faith, was right. This flaw, the shuhada that we see, or the loss that we sustained in this battle, was as a result of disobedience to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it was the consequences of the affairs that we saw. That what we did are the ones. Now here, this message is given to Rasulullah. We met someone after the battle, and he said this, and this Sahabi was quiet, saying that, I don't want to reply to you, I don't want to talk to you, because you guys just create doubts and confusions in our mind, so I don't want to communicate with you. But Ammar gave this reply to them. Rasulullah says that what Ammar gave, the reply that he gave, that it is like fighting in the way of Allah, that jihad fi sabilillah, that much of a reward he got only for that statement,